Yeah. Do you want to try if...
Yes, that works. Yeah.
Okay. Really good evening. Thank you for being with us. I'm in the great company of artist Mika Sperling. She's a land-based artist and writer, born as the youngest of 8 children in Norilsk, a mining city in Russia. She recently resettled back into her childhood home in Germany. In her work, she combines photographs, video, handwritten text, and her own voice to confront family stories with a highlight on trauma and taboos. And she's a mother of 2. And this is not a small detail, the motherhood moment in your life, because it was precisely your firstborn, when she reached toddler age, that triggered the strong feeling of unease when she was surrounded by older men. And that encouraged you to start this very important project on child abuse and healing. And so I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the genesis of the project, and how did you work with different mediums, because this project was also an exhibition in Arles, it became a play in Marseille, and now a beautiful book published by Actes du Sud. Thank you.
So yeah, as you mentioned, the birth of my daughter triggered it, and to face the abuse I endured by my grandfather when I was a child. And I, up until then, I knew that it was wrong what he did, but I didn't really understand what it was. Up until that point, I kind of downplayed it for myself, but I tried not to work on it of art because I felt like I'm not ready to do this publicly. But it just kept growing on its own in secret. I would do walks. I would start the walks to his former apartment from my mom, and I would leave my kid with my mother and do the walks on my own. I wouldn't tell her that I took photographs and why I was doing it. And I thought it was just for myself, a therapy, art therapy for myself. But it grew, and then I found a stack of photographs that he had gifted to me, because he was a photographer in the family, and he would leave me these photographs with my name written on them. And that stack, out of the sudden, when I looked at those pictures, I couldn't look at them anymore in the same way as before. So I didn't really want to do anything with them. But I would just keep them with me all the time and try to figure out a way to, what to do with them. And then I cut them out at some point. That's how the collages started. And to balance it, because it was hard for me to look at his face, but the colors, the bright colors, they helped me to do a balance between me and him, to regain power in a way that I want to preserve my childhood. I don't want to give up on my childhood completely. I want to save that part, and just want to cut him carefully out of it.
And so how was working with these different mediums between the book, the play, and the exhibition? How did these 3 objects, in a way, dialogue with each other?
Well, the play really happened overnight, where I didn't consider it a play. I just went crazy with his voice in my head, because to test myself, I was trying to see what playing chess does to me, because he was my chess teacher, and I never really played chess after he died. And I started to play chess with my husband, and then after we played, and it was fun, but then later I had the voice of my grandfather in me teaching me and being like, do this move, be more aggressive, do this. And I just had this voice, and he was so present. And then I wrote the monologue kind of in one go, and then had another few goes, but it was really more something that just happened, and I didn't really know what it was. Yeah.
And it's fascinating how, I mean, it's a dialogue because obviously it is named in the dialogue, but it doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And I was very moved by this kind of like forensic twist that in your project the photographic medium takes, because he was also a sort of like, he loved photography for sure, and he used to photograph the family. And by giving you these images and you inverting the image in itself, like working on the verso, removing also his presence from the image, is kind of like he gave you these images have both they have a kind of like double soul of being the evidence of this crime and trauma, but also they became your territory for reclaim agency.
Yes, I like that twist too. When I thought, I was like, I'm taking something from him and using that against him, or using it to and integrate our story. I mean, it's to integrate it with myself as well. I really like that as well.
And so it seems that it started like as a therapeutical journey for you, but then it also allowed you to become an artist, because at the end, of course, the healing process was super important, but you also discovered that through this expression to kind of get rid of this trauma or deal with this trauma in a more acceptable way for your life, also allowed you to realize that you were actually an artist.
Yes, I feel much happier now with how it's out there in terms of. I had to be loud with it because in my family everyone was silent with it, and it's kind of unbearable. The silence was too loud. It was too much, and I included a story in the book that hasn't been published before in the play or in the exhibition. That is the key story, really how it started, and it involves my mother, and she plays a role, and so I think I was too afraid before to say that, because we don't want to portray someone in a bad light we love, and then but with the book I thought, no, I need to do this because it's so important to be honest about it.
Yeah, and it's also in terms of like the object itself. So there are many layers and many chapters in a way. I wonder how you worked on the structure and the different narratives and how they are all intertwined.
I selected a friend designer that I wanted to work with it, Nico Baumgarten. I knew him, and I knew his obsession with details, and I knew that he was the right person for me to work on it. And then it became a very collaborative process also with Geraldine Ley and Nesma from Actes Sud. We got on a call all together, and they were suggesting things and to how they would tell the story, and it was really beautiful because I mean it was a bit of a leap for me first to work with others on it, but then I felt so comfortable and well taken care of. We all kind of tried to tell the story in a sharp way, but the first edit was from me. Like I did a dummy first, and then I gave this over to Nico, and then he made suggestions. So we worked extremely close on it. Yeah.
And how has been the response of the public so far? Because I think that the fundamental nature of this project is also this idea of sharing your own story to hopefully make some kind of positive externalities, like hoping that these people stop doing these things.
Yes.
So we need to denounce, and it's really like a coming out that is necessary. And I was wondering if you had already some interaction with the public and how it was received.
Well, my interaction since ARL, since exhibiting, when it started, the interaction was very emotional. Like people would tell me how they cried seeing the work or be very impacted and thanked me. And some artists would reach out and tell me that they also now feel brave to work on their own stories. And someone started to write a movie after they saw my show. And when I saw the play, there was also someone crying in the audience and asking me questions like, did it really help? And so it was very overwhelming in a beautiful way to receive that. And also scary that it's so common that so many people feel connected to it. It's also sad at the same time.
Yeah, we were talking when we did our Zoom to meet about this notion of the Freudian cover-up, which is kind of like this dark chapter in Freud's history that has been accused of denying a lot of abuse in women, and how this idea of making the victim feel that it didn't happen, or she might have imagined it. I think it's probably like the most disgusting aspect of psychoanalysis, his own psychoanalysis. And I wonder if you also went through therapy, and if going through therapy also informed your artistic practice somehow.
I went through therapy also while I was working on it, but at that time I was already, with this work, I was kind of already stable and doing a lot more self-therapy, I would say. Not so much working with a therapist on this, and more with the other survivors through conversations, and that was helpful as well to, kind of see. And I think, I mean, the scariest part where I was really scared was before ARL, and to tell my mother about going public. That was the scariest. And I think if anyone is going through that, it's worth it to go through it. It's extremely scary to do it, but in the end, if you had all this fear of telling someone and knowing this person might be angry or sad that you're going to do this, at the end, if you choose yourself over that, it's so empowering. And I experienced self-love as I've never experienced it before with the work. And I was so surprised. I was like, where is this coming from? But it's from myself. So that's really beautiful. But there were moments where I thought I made a mistake, and it was damaging, maybe. Like I had doubts.
Yeah, but then it's always a matter of who's being damaged for how long and when, because you, at some point in your life, you have to think about your own damages that you underwent. So I think it was a very important move. And I wonder now if you are ready to embrace new adventures and new topics.
Yes, absolutely. I'm already working on 2 new works, and I've been so happy when the book was finished. I was like, okay, now I can work on them more. But they've already sneaked on the past years already, kind of in the background where, So you want to tell me, you want to know what?
No, maybe if you have a...
No, it's also, one is about my husband, like an intimate look on him, because we've been together for 17 years. And one is another unfortunate story of violence against, like, spanking and beating children. Also an unfortunate family story. So,
but not your own this time.
Not my own, but of family members. So it's these both, and I really like to go back and forth between 2 projects. So whenever I feel stuck in one or feel it's too much, because with traumatic stories, it's like that. You have to take breaks. Then I always have the other one, and that's really been working really well. Yeah.
So I would say that you have a book signing, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday.
Yes.
At 4 p.m. at the booth K14 of Ac de Sud.
It's right around the corner. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sure, given the delicate, intimate topic, that if anybody has any question and they feel shy now, they can always approach you
Yes,
later.
okay.
But I wanted to thank you so much for your really important work. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thanks.